Hello, everyone. My name is Katie, and welcome to the Greenland Quilter channel. I sure hope everybody's been having a fantastic weekend. Um, Today, I'm going to work on the Moda. I'm sorry. Wow, where'd that come from? The Dragon Fruit Block of the Month that Fat Quarter Shop sponsored. We are going to start on the next portion of it. As you saw last time, I finally got the first section done, and I'll show you what I'm talking about to remind you. Um, it was this section that I finally got done. So I just want, so what we're going to do, this is the portion I did, finished up that y'all saw on one of my lives. So the next portion that we have to do, I'll show you what it's going to look like in the end, or where we're going to be working towards. We're going to be working towards getting this portion done. So tonight, which is tonight my time, afternoon your time, I will be starting with the first block, which is called, this one is called Pomegranate Block, and it is a log cabin. And I have to do 4 of those. So that's what we're going to work on tonight. And look at this pretty fabric, y'all. Look at that. Isn't that great? Okay. Let's see. What have y'all been working on any projects today? Tell me what you've been doing today on Saturday. And thank you for being my newest subscriber, Anfield. I appreciate you for that. Hi, let me say hello to everyone in the chat. We have Joyce Hernandez was the first one in the chat today, and then Anfield was second. What's your first name, Anfield? Let me know. And then we've got Cindy Good. Hello, hello. Hey, Jaja, it's good to see you. Hello, Janet. And hello, Candace. Good to see everyone. So what I need to do first, I've already cut my fabric, so I don't have to do the, I won't need to do that because I've already done it. I did it right before the live. I just need to get the lines on the back of this paper so that I can see. And then we're going to start. So what I'll do is I'll start with this first paper. I already started folding it so I could put pencil on the back of it so that I could see it, because it helps me stay on track better. And what did I do with my pencil? Okay, there's my pencil. So I fold it first, and then I'll go back and put pencil on the back of it. That's what I'm going to do first. And I always do this to all my foundation paper piecing because it helps. My eyesight's kind of weird, especially when I have this many lights bouncing off my glasses, which causes a glare. So it makes it harder for me to see certain things. And seeing the fold on the back of the paper, I know you can see it mostly, but it's hard to see when you're mounting fabric on it. So I like to draw the lines on the back. It doesn't affect anything to do with the fabric. I tried a tracing wheel, but it didn't give me the effect I was hoping for. Someone mentioned sewing to it without thread, and I have thought about messing with that to see what it would do. Might be a good idea, actually. I just need to take, I would probably have to do that before a live, though. Can't do that during the live. That would take too long. But anyhow, that's what we're going to work on today. So tell me what you've been doing today. Have you been sewing? Have you been crafting? Have you been, if you're a YouTube creator, have you been working on recording videos? What have you been up to today? And if you're, oh, by the way, Anfield, if you, here, let me show you. If you type the word whoa, let's get my cursor back in the chat. If you type the word exclamation selfie, you can share your channel in here. Those of you who are, hey, Jean, good to see you. I almost missed you being in there. Hey, Robin, it's good to see you. Robin, man, oh, man, that pattern that you shared with me in the email, that is one beautiful pattern. Oh, and I have something to show y'all from last night. And I will share it again as people drift in. There she is. This is winter flare, I think is what we call this. No, northern flare, sorry. This is called northern flare. And Phil says been recording vlogs and editing vlogs. That sounds like a busy job. Type exclamation selfie to share your channel. Candace says she's been making bowl cozies. Yeah, Anfield is from Tuber Chat, y'all. I was just in there watching his live before I started my live. Janice says, I have been in the bed with stomach bug. Uh-oh. I hope you get to feeling better. Jaja Brownie says, it's perfect. Sylvia, hi, Sylvia. She says, it's gorgeous. Anfield says, cool. Sherry, hey, Sherry. She says, it's beautiful. Joyce says, it's beautiful. Robin says, beautiful. Janet says, gorgeous block. Jean says, oh, no, to Janet. Hope you get to feeling better. Drink, drink, drink. And Cindy Good says, love the block. This block came out really great. I love it. I can't imagine trying to make an entire quilt with this, though, because it is very tedious. Because of all these moving parts that go on in this. And this, none of this is paper piece. This is all piecing for anyone who didn't see the live last night. Okay, so that's this block, and I will show it again later for those that missed it. All right, so let me get back to getting this paper ready for sewing on. I think these blocks, because they're a little bit bigger, are going to be more fun to create. And hopefully, I will not make a mistake and put the wrong color in the wrong place, because that's what I did when I first started this. And it was a good thing there was extra fabric, or I would have been in big trouble. So, how's everybody's? Is it still cold everywhere y'all are at? Hey Helen, she says, Katie, that block is beautiful. Thank you. It was I have to say that I liked making it. It was very, cutting out the pieces was simple because it was mostly rectangles and you were doing stitch and flips. The challenge was sewing all of it together in the way they had you doing it, because there was lots of moving parts in this particular block. I really enjoyed making it. The challenge was on. I was going through the book last night looking for the next 4 blocks for the next part, because when we finish these 4 blocks, which now we've just finished 2 of the 4, now we got 2 more to go. After that will be 24 blocks, and so we are going to be 6 blocks away from the 30 block mark that I'm after for making my quilt, or for this particular quilt top. And so I've been going through the book looking for blocks, and there's 2 or 3 blocks I put on the list for y'all to vote on. Oh my gosh, there's a couple of them that looks really challenging, but they'll be fun. And it seems like I have a bit of a theme going on up here, because most of these, actually all of these blocks except for the bear paw and the French twist and the railroad crossing, most of them, there's maybe 4 or 5 blocks in there that has nothing to do with a star, but the rest of them has some background star or some background square and a square. It's pretty interesting how this has taken on a little bit of a theme. I'm really hoping that the whole quilt top will be beautiful when I put it all together. It's definitely going to be a big one. My name is Lee. I've seen you in Tuber Chat. It's good to meet you, Lee. I always try to get people's first names so I can start learning them. And if I forget your first name the first couple times of you coming in here, I'll keep asking, and the name will stick. I'm one of these kind of people that don't forget faces, but if I don't talk to you enough, I kind of forget your name. But I've been trying really hard not to do that. So welcome to the channel, Lee. Appreciate you coming in. And yep, I've seen you many times in Tuber Chat's channel. And I'm gonna have to go over and have a look at your channel. Can you tell us in the chat what kind of channel you do? So they know? And don't forget, let's see, did you share your channel? Your channel didn't show up in notification. I don't know what the deal is, Sherry. And I even posted shared the live link to let everybody know I was going live. So it should have been in your on your where you see everybody else's channels. There's a portion where we make it that post our community post, and I posted last night and today. Well, I have no idea why YouTube is not sharing. I'm on live. Hang on a minute, y'all. Sissy, I'm on a live.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I'm so sorry. Okay. Is everything all right?
Yeah, I just wanted to check on you because I hadn't heard from you. You haven't been answering messages.
I guess I haven't been on my phone much this week. Everything's good. Tell everybody I love them. I appreciate them. I miss them, and I'll be back next week.
Okay, so
I'm not going to be there tomorrow. Okay. I sent you an email.
Okay, thanks, sweetie. All right,
I love you.
I love you
bye.
Too. Gotta go. Bye. That was Myra. Y'all haven't seen her the past few days because her mother passed away. It's probably been about a week and a half now. And tomorrow I have a live that I do once a month. It's called Peace of Mind Mending Pieces, and it's a mental health live that we do. We talk about different things, and she's not going to be there for that. So it'll be just me and Danny tomorrow, along with all of you who follow this particular live. Okay. And Lee says, I am a model train. I build card kits and run model trains and scratch build a lot of things. Oh, that's really cool. I'll have to share that with my husband. My husband loves trains. Hey, Laura Sup, how are you feeling, girl? I hope you're feeling better today. Jaja says the notification popped up for me on my phone. Here's an interesting thing. When I was live last night, about an hour into my live, I get a notification that my channel had gone live. An hour later. That makes no sense. None. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to start. I've got the lines drawn on the back, see? Because we're going to be placing the fabric on the back, but we're going to be sewing from the front. So the first two pieces we're going to start with is one and two, okay? And I got to make sure I turn it this way because I will make a mistake. So I need to grab one of these. We're going to be using this piece right here and one of these. Okay, so this, and we need to, and the directions here gives you the number that you need to use. So this one needs to go on number 1, and I'm going to get out my little glue stick. I'm going to glue this first one so it doesn't move. I only glue the first piece, and then after that, I start pinning because I don't feel like I need to glue every piece. Okay, so put the glue stick on there, and then put the first piece on here, and make sure you got it on here all in, centered. And then before I put the number 2 piece on, I'm going to go over here on the one side, on the side that the number 2 is going to go on. And we are going to make sure that it's a 1/4 inch seam allowance or a little less than a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And I need a rotary cutter right here. Move everything out of my way keyboard wise. Okay. So this is a 1/4 inch, so I'm going to leave it alone. And we're going to put this next one right here, and we're going to turn it face down. Now a pin will come into place because I don't want this to move. And I'll use a pin, and I'll pin it on the other end of this so that when I run this through the machine, the pin won't be teasing the machine itself. Okay, so let's get sewing. Let's put this in the machine. I've already set everything up. I have an open toe foot. Here, I'll show you what kind of foot I'm using on this. I like to use this open toe foot because I can see the lines. There's nothing getting in the way of my vision. And this foot seems to go pretty good over paper. So that's the type of foot I use. And then I set my seam or stitch length at 1.80. I think that's tight enough for this. All right, I've already got that first seam in. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay it open and use my handy little seam roller, because we're going to I'm not going to take this to the iron for every step. And then first thing I want to do is I'm going to, because this is one, two, then we're going to go to number 3, but I want to trim the top up here to make sure that it's at that 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now I might not have to trim anything. Okay, we just need a tiny little trim right here. Okay, just a little bit of right there. Okay, now we need number 3, and the color we're going to use for number 3, where is, is going to be white. So it's going to be 2.5 inch white. Make sure this. I have this upside down. Uh-oh, something's not cut right. Oh, I see. It's way over here. Oh my goodness. This is the right size. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to turn this piece and we're going to turn it face down. Now, I had already checked. Let me check this other side. Now, this other side is number 2. I want to make sure this is at a 1/4 inch too, because I'm going to line this up on one side. And this is a good way to keep everything neat and clean while you're doing it. Okay, now we're going to lay this on here, and I'm going to line it up on the left side because I like to do that. Then what I'm going to do is pin this piece down here on the bottom so it doesn't go anywhere. And then I'm going to go to the machine and sew it. All right, there we go. So now we're going to sew it. I have come to like doing this foundation paper piecing. It's fun. Take it out of the machine, and then we'll press this up with my fingers to start with, and then I'll use the seam roller on it. So this is number 3. Yeah, because we're doing the log cabin paper piecing. Okay, now I might want to press this with the iron. Okay, now what I will do is I'm going to turn this back over on the other side because I want to trim it up a little bit because I like to keep everything kind of tidy when it comes to the paper piecing because it can get messy and out of hand if you're not paying attention. So I'm just going to make sure that all my seams are 1/4 inch seams, and if they're not, trim them off. And you can see I'm just getting little tiny slivers off of here. Then I'm going over to the other side and recheck the side. And now this side, I definitely need to trim. Okay. So let's go ahead and trim that. And I'll look in the chat just a second because I know you're talking. Okay. Check the other side and that looks fine. So we're good to go. All right. Let me see what's going on in the chat. All right. Hi, Felicia. Hello, hello. Lee says I start my channel as vlog and then I just like doing vlogs and building from scratch. That's cool. Sherry says, yes, I've seen Lee in some lives in Discord. Happy you're here, Lee. Yeah, we're getting around to each other's channels these days. How you doing, Felicia? Laura says, Jaja, I've been trying to rest. I've been having a lot of migraines lately. You might could blame the atmosphere on that one. Jaja says, shoot, probably from the stress of the flooding you had. That, yep, life on top of that. I hope it will go away soon, Laura. Yeah, I do too. Felicia says, I pray that you get to feeling better, Laura. And Phil or Lee says, hi, everyone in the chat. And then Sherry says she'll have to check on something. Lee says he or she likes a lot of crafting channels. Laura says, Felicia, I will be fine. Well, that's what I tell my husband. Unfortunately, the weather seems to be an impact on me more. Yep, that does happen. And then Robin says, just finished dinner for family. I can't eat that stuff. What are they eating, Robin? Okay, let's go to number 4. So now we got to put on number 4 right here. And number 4 is going to be this cute little polka dot. This is the pink. We're going to put this right here on number 4. Then we're going to pin it. Now, I'm a pinner, and I'm not saying that you have to pin. I just like to do this because it keeps it from moving, because once you flip it over, you can't see what's going on underneath. If you have a channel, type exclamation selfie to share your channel. That's all one word, exclamation selfie. Oh, Philly cheesesteak subs, yum. I miss having those. Nothing better than a Philly cheesesteak. Yum, yum. I take it your stomach can't take it, Robin? Now we're going to trim like I've been showing you the whole way through. And then we'll go on the other side and make sure everything's still okay. Then we're going to have to trim up here on the top as well. Now, one thing about Fat Quarter Shop is whenever they have paper piecing that they sell, or it's part of a block of the month, they always give you enough fabric so that you can trim down so that you don't end up with fabric you've messed up on. Okay, so now we've got number 4 on here. Now we're going to go to number 5, and number 5 is going to be 3.5 on this pink, which will be this one. Okay, now we're going to line that up. I'm going to put it right here on it, all the way across the line here. And you can see there's a little overhang, and that's what the beauty of the way Kimberly has these patterns written, so that you can trim it up and not make a mistake, because you can easily make a mistake. All right, now we're going to go back and turn it over and sew it. Lee says, "Were my mini Laura says, "This year has been challenging for sure, but I'm a survivor. I have no doubt that I'll get through it and will be well." Yes, you will, and that's a great attitude to have. Yep. It's all about attitude. You can't lay down and give up. You got to keep on fighting. Okay. All right. So what you're doing is seeing line up, sew, trim, repeat. That's all this is just, so it's basically, as long as you put the pieces, the colors in the right position they're supposed to be in, you should have no trouble doing this. Okay. So we're well underway with this pattern now. So we just finished number 5. Now we're going to do number 6. And number 6 is probably white. It is. And we're going to use this one right here. So, because one side's going to be color, the other side's going to be this white. I think this is called fairy dust or something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and reline this up again. And we're just going to keep on repeating the same process all the way around. Lee, can you re-mention what you just wrote, because I couldn't understand what it meant. Maybe it was talking about the Philly steak being and yeah. Philly cheesesteak. Yep, I was right. He's talking about the Philly cheesesteak being Okay, now we've got that one done. And the same thing. Finger press, and then I'm gonna put my little seam roller over. At some point, I'm gonna go back to the, in fact, I'll probably go to the iron in a minute after I get this next part done. Get some more pressing on it. All right. Then we got to trim again right here. You know, see how I'm just getting little tiny sprigs right here of leftover fabric. So there's not much wasting going on right here. Okay, now we've done number 6. This is number 6. Now we're going to move to number 7. And number 7 is also going to be white. And we're going to use the next size up. Make sure this is correct. Yep. And then we'll do the same thing again. Then I'm going to pin. Then turn it over and sew. Those of you who just came in, don't leave anytime soon because I showed last night's finished block right at the beginning of the live, and I'm going to show it again because I know some of you come in since then, and I know you want to see it. I posted pictures of it, but I don't know how many actually saw the pictures. So I'll make sure everybody sees it tonight because it came out surprisingly well. I'm really happy with it. I don't feel like there's anything that needs to be fixed in it. It looks good. Okay, now I've done that. And then I'm going to take it over to the iron because I need to press again because I want to try to keep this a little bit flatter. And then I'll trim it. Okay, so it's been pressed with the iron. Now I need to trim on this side and then up here on the top. So let's do this side first. And use my ruler. I do have a 1/4 inch, I forget what the name of that ruler is called, but it's a short one. And I like my flat ruler better. And then trim again. The add a 1/4 ruler, yeah, I have one. I just don't use it much because I prefer using my regular ruler. I don't know why, but I just do. Okay, now we've done number 7. Now we're going to move to number 8. And number 8 is going to be, we're going back to orange. All right. And that's going to go on this side. All right. Line it up again. Pin it. Yeah, we want you around for a long time, Laura. Can't be leaving us. Laura says, actually, my husband and I have had similar experiences. Our childhoods weren't happy. We both survived that. We've been together for 36 years and married for 35. He's my hero. It's interesting on that part. Laura says, Katie, I've had a difficult childhood, and I'm sure you understand that. Yes, I do. I decided a long time ago that I'd survived all of that. I'm happily married and have 2 amazing kids. If I die today, I would be happy. I was just thinking about my little journey from 44 years of nothing but ugliness to what I have now. And if I feel like I don't know where, and we're not going to, I'm trying not to cry. I don't know if I would have survived in, as long as I have now physically, if it hadn't been for Nikolai finding me and us, me moving over here and experiencing a whole new life and love. And so Nikolai's my hero too. That man is a beautiful human being. There are times that I get these little thoughts in my head about, I hope I'm not ruining him, because when he first got me, I was a hot mess. I realized the other day that I feel like I'm doing more better mentally these days, as far as I haven't had any triggers recently in the last, I guess, year now. So I feel like that's a big improvement. Let's see here. Sherry, thank you. I plan to be around for a while. And then Lee says, 16 likes. Press the like for the host. 26 watching. Thank you for sharing that, Lee. I appreciate that. Hey, Joyce. She said she paid the rent when she came in. Okay, now we've just sewn number 8. I need to do one more trimming right here on the top of this. Yeah, y'all hit that thumbs up like button, please. It does help the channel. My channel is growing. I don't even know what to say. All I can say is thank you, because it flabbergasts me a little bit, because the last month and a half something's happened. Let's see, now we're going back to orange, and we need the next big strip, which is this one. Okay. And I appreciate every one of you who have helped support my channel to help it grow. I appreciate all of y'all so very much. And I think being a tuber chap's helped a lot too. Laura says, goodness, my husband has been told many times that I wouldn't survive. He told the doctors that they didn't know me. I survived and I'm here, but I believe it's because my husband always believed in me. Yeah. Sherry says 10,000 you'll have by the end of the year. I don't know. I'm trying not to even think that. Oh, wouldn't that be crazy? 10,000? But if I get to thinking about it, it kind of makes my stomach twist up, because I'm like, I want all of y'all to know I'm not going anywhere because of that growth on my channel, though. I'm going to be the same person you met 2 years ago. Cindy says, we appreciate you taking the time to do your videos with us. I love doing them. I know sometimes they're a hot mess, and I am thankful that all of you have been there pushing me on forward and not getting mad when I make mistakes. In fact, you've said that you are happy that I share my mistakes with you guys by keeping it real, and I do keep it real. I'm not going to hide a mistake. I'm not going to stop in the middle of live and say, oh, I'm not doing this. Not happening. I may not finish it in 3 hours. You know how long I was live last night? And I still didn't have that block finished. That block was very challenging. Okay, now we've done number 9. Now we're going to turn around and go to 10. And 10 is probably white. Yes, it is. And it's going to be this, not as long as this longest piece I have up here. Okay, let's put it down here and line it up. This block is going to be super cute. What do y'all think? I think it's going to be pretty. Laura says, Katie, don't worry about the numbers. People gravitate to your channel because you are authentic. Please don't change. I will never change. I am who I am, and I can't let this get in my head. Then, hey, Linda. Linda says, good evening, Katie, and everyone in the chat. How you doing, Katie? I'm doing a lot better. She's eating waffles and bacon for dinner. Yum. I would like to have some waffles, but I don't have no eggs. She says, then it's back to the long arm. I'm down to 3 more quilts to finish. 10,000 is in view. Yes, it is. Definitely is. So I have a question for you guys, and because y'all are always good about being frank. Do you think that when you hit the 10,000 mark that there'll be higher expectations from the viewers when a channel gets to be that big, or what's your thoughts on that? Because that's one of the things I'm worried about is when I get to that, is there going to be higher expectations of what people want to see? Because I really haven't given it any thought about, you know, how how that was going to affect me as a creator. Okay, we've got 10 on. Let's trim it. All right. My box from Syracuse is about to get shipped, and there's a new camera in there, and I think I'm going to attach that camera to the desktop, unless I can figure out how to run it from my, because I use my camera on my laptop, plus I have my phone up here, and it occurred to me that the camera I ordered, I'm not sure how to run that camera and my laptop camera. I don't know. I need some help with that. I need to talk to Tammy because Tammy runs two cameras, and I don't know if she uses a switch or what she uses. I'm thinking I need another piece of hardware to make that work if I want to use it on this side of the desk. Okay, now it's trimmed on here. Okay, I could have left that alone actually. Now let's put on number 11, and number 11 is also going to be the white, so it's going to be the longest strip that I cut here. Now go ahead and pin this one on here. And then we're going to pin it. Robin says you should be you. That's why people come and I've stayed. Thank you for that. Sherry says we don't expect more than you expect more. You keep doing you. I hope you stay your beautiful and giving self. I've learned a lot from you and enjoy your videos. I'm not going anywhere. I can tell you that. I didn't know what kind of expectation was going to be expected on this idea of being bigger. Janice says, no, keep doing what you're doing. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for your input on this, because I was wondering about that. Because I can only be who oh, it seems, oh, no, I know why my top camera died. Oops, I forgot to plug it in. Hang on a minute. See? Another thing I forgot to do. Plug the phone in so that the camera wouldn't die. How long's the camera been out? Hey Daisy, how are you? Let's see if it'll let me turn it on. Oh, I got to give it a minute. The camera will be up in a minute as soon as it charges for a minute. And then I'll put the camera back on because it's on my little cell phone. Okay, I have pinned. We're pin number 11. So we're doing number 11. When this gets charged a little bit, I'll put the second camera back up. Sorry about forgetting to plug it in. Laura says, Katie, don't change. People have come to your channel because you are real. There's no need to change it up. Thank you, because I really want to just keep doing what I'm doing. Daisy says, I use my phone to go live and doing fine. So and doing fine. So you overseas. Ah, yeah, hi. Lacey, hey Lacey Grace, how you doing? Okay, so I've got this and I'm going to take it back over to you'll probably notice I'll keep getting up and ironing because of the closer we get to the edge, it helps to keep things flat. Let me check the phone again. Oh, we got 3% now, so maybe it'll come on. Come on. There we go. Now I got to wait for it to load up. All right. Now we're going to trim. Okay, now we've got, wait, let me make sure there's nothing. Okay, now what we got to do is do number 12, which is right here. And number 12 is going to be this polka dot that we've been using, this one. And I'm just going to pin it on to this side. Lucy says, I'm doing good and about to run some errands pretty soon. Hope you're having a good day. Yes, I've had a good day. I was up a little later than I should have been last night because I couldn't sleep. So, hey, Linda. All right, since everybody's dropping in and we're waiting on my phone to come up, let me re-show the block because some people didn't see it at the beginning of the live that was watching last night. Here's the block, y'all, from last night. It's together. This one is Northern Flare. Sherry says, I think we need to continue to give without expecting our viewer to give to us. Does that make sense? Yes, it does. And here's this pretty little block. I didn't expect this block to come out this way. I wasn't sure if my colors would work, and they all work. Linda says she loves it. Felicia says that block is beautiful, Katie. So I know this is the second time showing it, but there was people not in here earlier that are in here now. So I wanted them to see it. So this is block number 22. So now we're 22 blocks in on this 1,000 block sew that I've been doing. So there you go. This is the last one from yesterday. I think that the block was a lot of fun to make. The only thing I can say that I will say about it is it had a lot of moving parts. And because of all those moving parts, it was a little bit challenging, but it wasn't hard because there was no half square triangles involved. It was all rectangles and stitch and flips. That was the main thing about it. Okay, now let me find Messenger again. Oh, wrong one. Maybe when Myra called me, it knocked it off and I didn't realize it did, but I don't think so. Where in the world? Oh, there it is. Okay, found it. I was trying to find the link. Okay. See you later, Lee. Have a great stream. Have a great day. It's getting late in the UK. Thanks for welcoming me into the stream. I'll watch the replay to what I missed. Yep. Cindy Surratt, Lee, and thank you for coming. All right. Turn it up, turn it back down. And then we're going to turn it horizontal. Now watch your eyeballs. Okay, there we go. Now I can put this camera back up here. Please tell me I didn't just knock it off. All right. This phone is super sensitive, and the least bit of touching will knock it off. Okay, now you got the top camera back. Okay. Katie, we don't get better at our craft unless we challenge ourselves. That is very true. You should have seen me going through the book last night. I picked the next 4 squares for the next voting, and I'll be posting that probably in another week. There's 2 of them in the list that they look crazy. All right, let's sew this. And I'm definitely going to do another paper piecing block. That is going to be, I found one called Emerald Isles in that book, and I'm going to do that as one of the blocks because I think it'll be fun. Maybe you can encourage me to get back into sewing. So here's my advice about those who have lost their sewjo. Daisy, do you have scrap pieces of fabric that you have in a bucket or something? Because what I like to do is take scrap pieces of fabrics when I'm not, well, let me show you something here. Uh-oh. Got to take some stuff out of this bucket. So we all have scraps or extras from what we were working on. Stitch and flips from doing stitch and flips, and the stitch and flips were big enough that you have them like this size. So I have this bucket and it's full of pieces. There is some bigger ones though too that I had extras of. So I put all of them in a bucket, and when I'm not having any sewjo at all, I'll just come in here and randomly sew them together, and I'll show you what you can do to get your sewjo back. If you have a bunch of stitch and flips in a bucket, you can sew them into half square triangles. Then you can turn them into the half square triangles and just randomly sew these together. There's no thinking in this, it's just sewing. You can even do the smaller ones. And then what am I going to put these in? I have a lot of what you call orphan blocks. And all of these, when I do this kind of thing, I'm going to put them into an orphan block quilt top. So save, scraps can be turned into anything. And you don't have to think about it. You're just going to sew. It's the motion of sewing, the brain memory of sewing. And at some point, something's going to click, and you'll start out just, say, I just can't do this. And then 5 minutes goes by, then 10 minutes goes by. And then before you know it, you've been putting together something for an hour or 2. And then you realize, wow, I just did something. So this is a way of trying to get yourself out of a sewjo. Small projects, small blocks, or just one block. Even if you sew one block, that's one block toward getting back into sewing again. That's my advice. Because it works for me. That's how I get myself out of this funk where I don't want to sew. Daisy says, nice job. So your name is Katie. My name is Daisy Duck. Hi, Daisy. When you get all done, can I see your sewing room? Oh, I don't have a sewing room right now because that's a long story. Yeah, it's a long story. My sewing room got destroyed by a storm, and we're working on trying to get it. We got all the repairs done. It's just Katie doesn't want to go in there right now. I have been going in there though. I've been pulling things out. Been doing a little bit at a time. Everybody knows about this because it caused a problem mentally with it. So I'm sewing in the living room right now. But maybe by the time Nikolai goes back to sea, we will have done at least get half that room in there dealt with so that we can move back in there. Okay, one last piece to go on. And number 13 is going to be this longest piece here of this pink polka dot. Yep, Laura says, I agree, Katie. It's one block at a time. Yes. If you can just manage to do something small, don't do anything big, just small. Start small. Do one block. And then if you feel the urge to do another block, do another block. If you don't and you're done, put it down, walk out of the room, and then try again the next day and do another little block. And at some point, your brain's going to say, oh, I remember doing this. I want to do this. It'll make you feel better. Laura's sharing with Daisy, I had a year full of health complications. I watched YouTube and scrolled through Pinterest, and found I'm finally able to sew again. It's been a journey for sure, but well worth it. Daisy wants to know if yes, I have a Facebook group on Facebook called Greenland Quilter. You can find the group there. Jaja says, I'm in the living room too. I switched from the dining table and my little desk in the corner. Yeah, this is my desk that came out of the sewing room. And we have a portable table in front of me that has the monitor on it and part of my light system. And then behind that's the dining table where Nikolai sits. And we just finally got this other half of the living room set up with 2 tables where I can cut. And yeah, we're getting somewhere. Janice says, I have never done FPP. Where and how do I even begin? Well, funny you should ask that. What you could do is go online if you don't want to put any money into paper just yet. And there's lots of free FPP pattern or where you can print the paper. You could do, I don't know if you've seen, here, let me show you a block. Like you can go to Modablock's website or moda.com, and then actually my bot shares the link for this particular pattern. This is free. This is paper piecing. And who was asking that about that? Janet. Janet, if you want to, I can do a how-to on this particular block, a short video, or either I can do it on live and we can do it together. Maybe we can plan on sewing. I want to sew this as a group, make like a small mini thing to hang on your wall. And there's 4 different sizes of this block. This one is the 6.5, I think. Wait, let me measure it. Yeah, this is the 6.5. So there's, I think there is 4-inch, 6.5. This is 6.5 unfinished. So it would actually be technically called a 6-inch. And then there's an 8-inch, and I think there's a 10-inch. So the pattern comes with all 4 of them. Then you can print out which one you want. And we can have a live one night where we all just sign this or create this. Honestly, it doesn't matter where we sew, just sew. Making something makes me feel so much better and accomplished. Yes. Let me plan on doing something after the first of the year where we're just sewing this block together. We can make it as a whole. Y'all come in with your fabric. You've printed out the freebie pages so that you can do the paper piecing part of it. You've picked your size of block. I could probably make a big one so that you know, because I like this size. I also like the smaller one. We can do this together as a group. That's a great sew along to do. And we're just gonna make like a little mini thing to hang up on the wall. We'll do the paper piecing, and then the next time we come back, we can quilt it. See, this still has the paper on the back of it. Okay, now we've done song number 13. I will be taking this block over to the iron to press, and then we are going to trim it to the size it's supposed to be, which this is going to be 6 inch, I think. What did it say? Yeah, 6 inch. Okay, let me go over and trim it, or I mean press it, and then we're going to trim it. All right, and I have to make 4 of these, so whew, that's hot. Let me get my ruler. And there is on the back, on the front of this, actually, it has these 2 lines here. It says do not trim on this line, and then the next one says trim line. So let me stick it up to the, that's upside down, sorry. Come on, camera, focus. See those 2 lines? You're going to trim on this outside one, not the inside one, because that is your sew allowance or your seam allowance right there. So let's trim. And then we're going to trim all 4 sides, and then I'll show it to you. And then I'll continue to make the other 3 because I'm gonna see how many I can get done tonight. Can someone do me a favor? I tried looking on Zaza's site today to see if to find her live link, because I know she said she would be going live at, I think she said 7 Eastern. And I went and looked today and I couldn't find the link because I was just going to dump you guys into her channel when it was time for her to go live. But I couldn't find it. So can y'all go over and look again and see if she's posted the live link yet? If she hasn't, maybe she's not going live tonight. But I was hoping to try to, because I can stay longer if she's not going to go live. But I wanted to help her channel out a little bit. Okay, and there's the block. Thank you, Jennifer, for joining my channel. I appreciate that so much. Jenny says that would be nice for Valentine. Yes, it would. And maybe we could come up with some idea of doing some small blocks around it or something. Daisy says, is your husband in the Navy? My husband was in the Navy and he heard that we're out there we heard that we're out there on our screen in porch listening to you. He works for a big, huge fishing company called Royal Greenland. He's been a sailor now for 31 years, 31 and a half years now. And he's a first mate on the trawl. So he works on a 75-meter factory shrimp trawler. And he's first mate on that trawler. And he spends 6 months at sea, but not all 6, like not all together. It's 2 months on, 2 months off. So his mistress gets him for 6 months. I get him for 6 months. And his mistress is the sea. So that's how that block came out. What do y'all think? Pretty cool, huh? All right, let's get to making the rest of them. I am happy with how that came out. That looks good. Okay, let's start the next one. And I need to see. Yeah, can someone do me a favor and check on Zaza's channel, please? Joyce says that's pretty. Thank you. All right, let's take another one out here and get it ready to go. Cute. I love the polka dots, says Jaja. Yeah, the polka dots look great on there. And if you look, there's polka dots on both fabrics. See that? Sit you back over here. So we're back to folding paper again. Get my pencil out. There's something about doing this paper piecing. It's once you get into a rhythm with it, it's cathartic. It's just like I really have come to love it. I know I don't do a lot of paper piecing. I mean, right now the most paper piecing I'm doing, actually I think this is the most paper piecing I've done in a long time, because I'm doing the dragon fruit and I'm also doing the star climber, which both sets are all paper piecing, and I really have been enjoying the heck out of this little journey. And it's definitely my skill set with this has improved a lot. I don't feel like I don't know what I used to feel like I had no idea what I was doing. And now I get where I do know. Now, am I doing it like most people do it? Probably not. I'm doing me because this is what works for me. Some people don't bother to draw lines on the back, but they do fold the paper. But I can't see the folded lines. That's why I use a pencil. These little cotton cut pencils, I've been using the heck out of them. I'm so happy to get them in in the box, my subscription box. It's a great idea Kim came up with, putting pencils in. Okay, now let me see here. I need to get the other side done. Almost there. I'm almost done with this so that we can start sewing again. All right. Let's do this next one. And then what I like to do is write the numbers on the back, also after drawing the lines, so that I know what order I'm doing these blocks in. I mean, strips in, sorry. That didn't come out of my mouth properly. 9, 13. And then we've got 6 and 10. 4, 8, and 12. Okay, now they're all ready to go. All right. Daisy says, I guess I was meant to come to your channel. Somebody on YouTube channel is working out for me, trying to get me back into selling again. What do you sell, Daisy? Sherry says, I have gamma long arms. I would love to have a gamma. My goodness. I do not own a gamma. I'm sorry. I don't have a long arm. I only have, Daisy is asking about our machines. I have 2 sewing machines currently. I have a Singer Talent, which is a little itty bitty thing. And then I have my Janome 6700P. That's the only 2 machines I have. And I have a Janome Gem, but it's in California. These 2 are here with me. The other one's in California. All right, now we're going to start again. And now that I have a picture to look at, yeah, so I can go ahead and just look at the picture of my already pre-made block, and I can pull up what I need. So I'm going to take one of these and one of these. So first I'm going to get my trusty little glue stick out, and we're going to glue just the one piece. That's the only piece I'm going to glue on here. And then line it up where it's center. And then we're going to go through the same steps I showed you a few minutes ago. Trim, trim, trim. And I've noticed there's hardly any wastage going on here. I mean, it's so slim. It makes me happy that I'm not cutting a bunch of big pieces off. Okay, we've got this glued in place. Now I'm going to take this other square and I'm going to turn it face down. Then I'm going to pin this. And so that little gem is better than that that singer in there. No, I like Singer machine. I sewed all of my teenage years on a Singer, and I had a Singer sewing machine when I was an adult because I was making my kids and me dresses. And so I have nothing against Singer. I just have something against that particular Singer. Oh, I know. And then Daisy says, "Oh, I know how that is. My husband being on a nuclear submarine. So, yep, he's been out of. He has. Yep, was. He's been out of the Navy for 37 years. How many years did he serve? My daughter served in the Navy. She was on the USS George Washington when she served. She worked in the engineering department. I need to press this. Laura says, I started out with a Viking sewing machine and embroidery machine. I stayed with the brand because buying all new hoops and feet would be too expensive. That makes sense to me. You know, I kind of want a machine that does a little embroidery, but at the same time, I'm thinking, won't that be a waste of money if I don't use it enough? I want to make my own, eventually get where I can make my own quilt labels so that I can put on it what I want to put on. I'm not unhappy with the labels I get from Sweetwater. I love them. All right. Now we're going to go and pick up number 3, which is going to be the smaller white. Sherry says, I did too, Laura, until I moved down to North Carolina. Now I have a cryotherapy dream machine. What's a cryotherapy dream machine? She says she doesn't know where the word came from. That's interesting. Oh, that water is nice and cold. Feels good on my throat. So where is all your watchers looking from? Where are all you where are all y'all your friends that watch you? I'm back in the States. They can tell you where they're watching from. I live in South Greenland, but I'm from Florida. I lived in Florida from 1967 until 2011. And then I moved here to be with the most extraordinary human being on the planet. Sherry, I don't believe I will ever be on another machine. I'm happy with what I have now. I'm sure there are better machines, but I'm done spending money on sewing and embroidery machines. Robin says, Florida? It's too bad I didn't know you back when I was in Florida, Robin. I would have met up with you. When I come to Florida the next trip, maybe we can have dinner or lunch together somewhere. Because I'm pretty sure I'll be in, I won't just be in North Florida the whole time. Myra, unless Myra moves to, she's talking about them selling their house and buying her mom's house and moving to Panama, or moving back, or moving into her mom's house since her mom's passed away, which means that's in Panama City. But I still want to make a South Florida trip. We need to, I want to take my, I want to go with my husband and do a road trip down to the Florida Keys, because I've never seen the Florida Keys. Lived in Florida all my life and never seen that. And I got to thinking about the last time I saw Fort Lauderdale was when I was a young girl. And I think I can make this road trip where we could do Fort Lauderdale and the Florida Keys. And Myra said something about her and Bill would be up for a trip to the Florida Keys. And we might could even stay on the military base, and it'd be a lot cheaper than a hotel. Let's see. Now we're going to do number 4, which is going to be the polka dot small one. Oh, I forgot to draw a line. Daisy says she has 2 Jukies and a Simply 16 long arm. What type of Jukies do you have, Daisy? And Robin says that would be nice. Yes, it would. And then Sherry says, Laura, my machine would have been 25 years old. Daisy, what state are you from? Linda said she's in St. Augustine. That's another person I need to go see. And we need to make another trip to St. Augustine, because y'all, when me and Nikolai were, the first time Nikolai came to visit, I took him to St. Augustine. And we went to see the Spanish Castillo, and we did that little place across the street from there. And we had such a good time. And I'm going to have to dig up the pictures from the St. Augustine part, because there's pictures of him in jail. There's pictures of me in stocks. It's funny. We had a lot of fun. Nora, you are on my girl. I think Nora likes using my foot pedal as a pillow. Okay, we're gonna trim this. Daisy, I have a Facebook group for this channel, Greenland Quilter, and you are welcome to share quilty pictures in there if you want to. The bot will ask you to answer some questions, And the answer for how long have I had, when did I start this channel? It's 2 years old. So, you know, all right, we got that side on. Now we're going to get the next one, which is number 5, which should be this size. Yep. And we're coming, let's see, what time is it? 7:30. Oh, we've been going an hour and a half now. We're doing good. Did anyone have a chance to go check out Zaza's to see if she had a link or not? How is Myra and her family doing? She called a little bit ago and she said she's fine. She won't be on the live tomorrow for the mending Peace of Mind mending pieces. But she said she should be back where everybody can see her next week. But she said she's doing okay. I think they've got the funeral out of the way now and everything. I think that was Wednesday. But she says she's doing okay. Okay, thank you for answering that. So that means I don't have to worry. I don't have anybody I can. Hello, photography by day. What's your first name? Okay. Press this one. Also canceled, not feeling good. Thank you for answering that. And hi, Regina. And hi, Day. What's going on? Yeah, I was going to dump everybody into her channel if she was going to be live. But if she's not, I'm going to keep on. Because I want to get all 4 of these done and maybe we'll work on something. As long as I don't have any pain anyway. Okay, we just got done doing number 6. We'll turn this back around. And number 6 is going to be white. We'll get that on here. These blocks are pretty. So I'll probably re-show my block from last night more than twice today because people are drifting in that might have been on the live and last night and just getting in here now so that they can see it. I guess I should put it on the design board and stand it up in the background. That would work. Let's do that. That way they can at least see it. Let's see what I can stand up. It's probably not going to stand up here for very long. It will fall down probably. What part of Florida did you come from? My son lives in Sarasota, got an Airbnb. I lived in South Florida around Orlando and Christmas, Florida, Orlando and Oviedo. No, Chuliota, Orlando, and Christmas from 67 until 1975. And then we moved to North Florida in Lake City. I've lived in Lake City from 1975 until 2011. So North Florida was where I left when I moved to Greenland. Sherry, I had friends try to talk me down not up to upgrading to another brand, but I had so much invested into the designer diamond that I didn't want to start over again. And then Daisy said, wish a way to show you my paper piecing that I did in a week. I did 2 quilts in a week for me and 1 for my girlfriend in Washington State. Join the Greenland Quilter channel if you want to on Facebook. And you can post your quilting pictures there. Or you can email it, and here's my email. If you want to email to me the pictures, I can post them for you on my community tab. At the bottom, here's my email address. And you can send them to me in an email, and I'll post them over on the Greenland Quilter community tab so people can see it. So you have that option as well if you're not a Facebook user. I shared Robin's handiwork over on the community tab as well as the Facebook group. There's been some comments, I think a couple comments on your handiwork, Robin. Let's see here. Now I'm going to do make sure number 7. Yeah. Then we're going to do the next longest one. Oops. Got to be careful here. All right. Hey, Mona, how are you? Daisy says, I'm south from Loretta Lynch's ranch. I'm south of her. I don't know who Loretta is. Loretta Lynn. Sorry, I read that wrong. I don't know who she is. Unless you're talking about the singer, and I didn't know she lived in Florida. That's something new. I did not know that. I'll have to ask Myra about that. Then we're gonna trim this one up. And trim again. And I will show that block up closer in a minute. When I finish this block here, I'll show you the other block again, because I know there's several people that came in tonight or just coming in now that was here last night that didn't see the finishing of the block. I've been looking at this. I have all my blocks hanging up on some Roman shades, and I realized that if I'm going to do five or six across, six down, this is not going to be big enough to hold all of them. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that little problem. Unless because even if I move everything edge to edge, I don't think it's going to be wide enough or long enough. Wait, one, two, yeah, because I'm not even, right now I have 5 across by 4 down. So that's still, yeah, it's definitely not going to be long enough. So I might have to start making sashing. And well, first I need to figure out the layout, how I'm going to lay out all these blocks. I kind of don't want to lay out anything until I got all 30 blocks done. And we are getting closer to that goal. I have really enjoyed doing that sewalong over the last, since February. And I'm glad I'm not going to end it until, because we're not going to start sewing it all together until January. And I still haven't made a decision on what color sashing I'm going to use. I'm almost thinking I'm leaning towards the same color I've been using as, because some of the blocks have the background the same. I may just use the same color as that for the sashing. And then I have to make a decision on what I want to use for, because it needs a border to go around it as well, so that it can stop all those seams, because there's a lot of seams on everything. Okay, now I'm going to go press this. Then I'm going to trim it. All right. And then we need to trim on the top. And then we'll be ready to put on the next piece. And then that's going to be this longer orange. And we'll go ahead and put that on here. And I'm going to turn this upside down so I can do it the way I like to do it. And then we'll pin it, and then we'll sew. Daisy says, I went to Facebook. There's too many of Katie's out. No, you need to put in the search button, Greenland Quilter. Just put Greenland Quilter in there, not Katie or anything else, just Greenland Quilter. There is a Facebook. Hang on. Let's see. Let me see if I can share the link. It'll either be, what did I use? GQFB maybe? Let's see if that gives me something. If not, I got to go look it up. Greenland, not Greenwood. Because I live in the country of Greenland. Yeah, the bot doesn't see it, so I got to go hunt it down. Hold on a minute. Come on, give me what I want. Okay. There's the link for the Facebook group. Just you have to answer the questions or the bot will not let you in the chat in the group. It's for safety. It's a safety feature that I set up. And make sure you read the rules. Okay, now we'll trim this one. And then we're almost done with this block too. And that'll get me down to having 2 more to do for this. And then I will be ready to start the next set. And I think the next block is going to be a square and a square. Yeah, but I have to cut some pieces for that. How things going in your neck of the woods, Mona? Is it gotten cold up there where you're at? Okay, now we've got that part done. Let me turn it back around so we're making sure. Now we need to put on number 10, which is going to be another white piece, I think. Yeah, number 10. So that must be this piece right here. Okay. Go ahead and line that up. Or not, maybe not. Oops, I'm about to jump the gun. Okay. Now we're going to sew this on. And pin. My mom was a Loretta Lynn fan. And I think her and Daddy both like Loretta Lynn, Conway Twitty, and a bunch of other people. They were country western fans. With the odd little thing like someone in their live last night was playing the Battle of New Orleans or kind of singing a couple of the lyrics of the Battle of New Orleans. I think it's what it's called. And I'm like, oh my God, I remember that song because my dad was on a binge with that particular song. And the other one was North to Alaska song. North to Alaska. Stand up for a minute. Need to stand up for a minute. Okay, and then we're going to trim. I'm not going to trim on the top because it'll get done when I do the final trim. Okay, so that was number 10. Now we're going to do number 11, which is the longer piece of the white. All right. Mona says it was cold, but today in the low 60s. I think I saw ice, a little thin ice on the lake today. I don't know that it's going to stay because our weather keeps going from a little bit cold to very warm. Right now we're at, ooh, we are below freezing right now. So that lake might get some ice on it, but I don't know if it'll stay or not. So here's what our weather is in that place I live at, Concordia. I wish that that thing would tell the highs and lows instead of just one temperature. It says 31 degrees Fahrenheit, -1 degree Celsius. Yep, we are at freezing. The wind is blowing from the east northeast. Yep, I opened the door and I'm like, oh, the wind is blowing. So it'll make it feel cold. Hey there. Anyone else just drop in I didn't see? I don't think so. All right. We're coming along with this next block. It's looking good. I haven't made a mistake. Thank goodness. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to just trim the one side, and then we're going to add the last two pieces of the polka dot on here. And this block will be finished, and I'll have 2 of the 4 done. And that's what I call progress. Okay, now we need to sew on number 12. I'm going to pin it and then sew it. You're welcome, Daisy. And you're right, there is lots of Katie's on Facebook. I actually have a regular Facebook page, but I don't mix my YouTube stuff with my Facebook group or with my main Facebook page. I have that for my friends and family. And I also have a Live in Greenland Facebook page and a group as well. I post a lot of pictures of things going on here in Greenland. Mostly it's the weather stuff or pictures of people posting sunsets and icebergs and lots of northern light pictures right now. And sometimes I'll post about when there's the Navy is in our port or something, or if there's some stuff going on in the news about like our town is going to get a deep ocean port. Denmark's giving the money for that, so that's going to make our, I have a feeling between the airport and the deep port, we're going to have a lot more people running around here and not enough housing. I wish, since things are going to be growing up behind the town with the airport and everything, I wish we could, if we had the money, I wish we had the money to sell this house and turn around and build a new one back there in the middle of nowhere, because I would love that, being back there where there's nobody. But then it'd be a hassle coming up to the store all the time. Okay, we got that side done. Now we'll put this longest piece on, and then we'll have this particular block done. But it should help improve our economy here, because our economy is in the crapper right now. all the areas, you know, up the West Coast, like Nuke and Sissy Mood and Ely Lisset and all those places, they're doing really well. But we're struggling down here in the South. It's like we're like the little redheaded stepchild. Those blocks are pretty. I like the colors. Yeah, they're coming along really good. I like these colors too. Let's go get the pin caught on here though. Take pins out. All right, press this one. All right, I'm gonna take it to the iron and then we're gonna trim it. Sherry says, Robin, I just saw your quilt. You're fast. It's beautiful. She's doing a super duper job. Um, Daisy, when you post your pictures, the bot is going to ask me if it's okay to post. So after the live, I will, or if I have time during the live, I'll go over there and approve the pictures. The only reason I had to set the bot to do that is because some people think they're above the rules and started posting pictures of t-shirts for sale. And I had specifically said that the channel is not for selling anything in, because we don't know who those people are that are selling t-shirts, and I don't want anyone getting scammed. So I don't want that in the group. It's not for that. It's for everybody to be able to have a safe place to share what they love sharing. It relates to crocheting and quilting and sewing and things like that, you know. And my husband just dropped some pictures of icebergs with the bad weather going on, so you can see how wavy the waves are, because the weather up there is, there's fishing in the fjord right now because the weather is really. Okay, I was about to say, wait a minute, what did I do? All right, we now have block number 2. Okay, and let me re-show the block for those who missed it, the first 2 go arounds from last night, because last night during the live when they were there, I didn't get this finished, but I got it finished before this live, and here it is. There we go. That's better. So this one's called Northern Flare. This is block number 22. Janet says, very pretty. So for those that missed it, here it is. Lori says, hey, Lori. She says, hi, Katie. Cute blocks. Thank you. Oh. And photography by Day, sorry. Very pretty, Katie. All right, so there you are. For those that just came in, this is the block that I was working on last night. This is block number 22, Northern Flare, from the Quilt Makers 1000 block book, because I've been doing a sole tutorials on these blocks. And this block had lots of moving pieces or moving parts in it, so I couldn't get it done during the live. So there you go. All right, let's start on the third block. Let me see what time it is. It's 8:39. So I've been 2 hours now. Let me see how many people voted on the current. And we have 41 votes on the poll, and I'll talk about the poll here real quick. What is a modern equivalent to the word betwixt? Option 1 was outside, which is 7% has voted. Between is 71%. Inside 0%, and beside is 22%. And in another little hot minute, I will tell you the answer. I'll give a chance for everybody to keep voting. All right, let's fold another one. We're starting to get a little bit of a collection here of things on this desk. Well, girls and everybody, y'all have a good night. I'm going to make me some breakfast, some dinner. I haven't ate yet. Okay, have a nice evening. Thank you for coming. And it was nice to meet you, Daisy. And thank you for subscribing to the channel. I appreciate it. And for becoming a member of the channel. I appreciate that so much. All right, time to fold some paper. I think I'll do one more block, which will leave me with one to do, which I can do during the mental health live tomorrow night. I'm going to be missing Myra being there, man, because she's my little anchor of what we can talk about. I'm trying to think what I want to talk about. I'm thinking I might broach the subject of when you're a quilter and you lose someone in your family. Yes, that's what Myra's going through right now. But I also think I'm going to ask everybody that comes if there's something they would like to talk about too, because we haven't really, I don't think we've really asked if anyone that has the subject they want us to talk about. Because we've talked about it quite a bit. Because we started this back in February, and then we had a gap about it. I think there was either a month or 2 months where we had to cancel because Danny had a lot going on, and so there was a couple days. It wasn't like 2 months in a row or anything like that. So technically, we don't have a whole year of it yet because it won't be a year old until February. And it's doing really well. People seem to be really enjoying the discussions we've been having. And it's a subject that needs to be talked about. Daisy says, well, thanks. What size are the blocks? What size are they? The blocks everybody else sewing along with you? No, this is a personal sew I'm doing. I'm making this for my granddaughter. And here, let me show you what the quilt looks like so you'll know. It looks like this. And all of this is Tula Pink. And it was sponsored by Fat Quarter Shop, and it's called Dragon Fruit, and it was a monthly sew along that they were hosting. So as far as I know, there might be someone in the channel that's working on one or just finished one. But I didn't do it as a so long. I've been just sharing it with you as I do the journey because this has been enjoyable. And this is for my oldest granddaughter. But it's not going to make it to her on her 14th birthday because I had a setback due to health problems. So I'm behind on everything right now. Nothing worse is to get attacked by pain and you can't function. But I'm doing good right now, actually. I've had a whole week where my pain has been low. Doing really good. I am so thankful for that too. All right, I'm going to do 4, 8, 12. 4, 8, 12, and 3, 7, 11. And 6 and 10. Okay, let's get to sewing on this next one. Oh, and the size of these blocks are 6 inches for this. Are you still there, Daisy? Let me know, because I'll show you what I've already done part 1. I had to make 4 of these. This is part 1 of and I had to make 4 of these. And those were 4-inch blocks. So this is 6-inch I'm working on now. And I forgot to draw a line right there again. Okay, now the lines are in place. Let's get sewing again. Start with one of these. And one of these. And I need my glue stick. Are the blocks all FPP? Yes. Hang on a minute. Hang on 1 second. I will show you each section so you can see what I'm doing, because the sections start getting bigger, progressively larger. So let me show you, because I showed this the other night and I don't mind showing again. Okay, so you saw where I showed you part 1. Part 2 looks like this right here. This is part 2. And then, wait, yeah. Then part 3 is going to look like, this is part 3. And then part 4, here's part 4. Part 5. And then this is part 6. Dinner's ready. Night, y'all. See you later, Lori. And then we have part 7, which is this. Yes, I bought I signed up for the monthly sew along. And then this is all of it without the border. can see how they put and you had to make 4 of these. But you already had all the pieces, you just had to sew them all together. And then after that, here's where it shows all 4 portions of it. And then on the other side, this shows it with the borders that go on it. I went and looked to see if you can actually buy the pattern. Apparently not. You know, just buy the book. I don't know. Maybe later down the road they'll offer it. Who knows? I also have the butterfly by her too. I've got the butterfly book. I think it's a 2nd edition. And I plan on taking batiks and doing the butterfly. I just haven't figured out when I'm going to do that exactly. I got to figure out where I put the doggone book. I put it away for a little while because I didn't want to get messed up or anything, and now I can't remember where I put it. It's in here somewhere. I just got to figure out where I put it. More than likely, I'll come across it when we start trying to move into the sewing room. Well, we're going to start calling that the craft room, since it's going to be a combination of me and Nikolai's stuff. Since he's doing Legos and stuff, we're going to put in another desk in the sewing room so that so he can sit down instead of standing up at the cutting table to do Legos. And we can be in this, you know, be right there. And I think by the time we get that all set up, we should be able to make when he's on the lives with me, because he's on the lives, some of them, not every live, but he does come on the lives from time to time. And he's working on he's sewing something right now too, so he's got to finish that up. That little quilt top's going to come out really good. And seeing Teresa Louise's friendship quilt has given me some ideas to share with Nikolai about what kind of border to put around it. You have the butterfly pattern too. I wonder how many people who watch has that pattern. I don't know. Maybe I could do it as a sew along if there's enough people that would like to do it as a sew along. But I'm not gonna run through it like Tiffany did, because I couldn't sew that fast. No thanks. Nora, you cannot please don't get on my foot. You should see how she's laying underneath this desk. I think Eric has finished his, I think. So how many of you sew fat? Let's do this in the chat. In the chat, either say fast or slow. And here's the question. How many of you are fast sewers? And how many of you are slow sewers? Let me know in the chat. Let's see what we got for, I'd be interested to see, because I think that's a great question. How many sew fast? Type fast. And how many sew slow? Type slow. Janice says she takes my time. Hi, Chris. Chris says definitely slow. I'm a slow sewer too. Join the ranks of us slow sewers. Hi, Giovanna. How are you? It's good to see you. I think it depends on, let's see. Day says, I think it all depends on the project, but I try to take my time and usually do one project at a time. You have no idea how many, I have 7 projects going on this year. And most of them relate to this channel. Not all, 2 of, let's see, this one is not channel related. And one other one I'm working on is not channel related. Everything else is like a sew along or whatever. That's good. I'm glad to hear you're good. Coming along with these blocks. We're good. It's just trimming. We're sewing and trimming as we go along with this. Okay, let me take this over and press it again. Okay, now we're going to sew. We've done. Okay, number 4. All right, so we're going to start with the polka dots. Okay. Get off my screen. Has anyone seen the bot share Rita's channel by any chance? Because I don't know that I've seen it come across there, and I'm trying to do small channels in here. And I added her to the bot, but I haven't seen the bot put it out late. Let me see here. Hey, Denise, it's good to see you. Janice says, I only start a new project once I have sent a quilt out to the long armor. Giovanna says, it is a bit late though, but then I am a night owl. Yep. And then Denise says, hello, everyone. Cold and rainy in SoCal today. Yeah, I saw on William's channel last night. He was talking about it was been raining for like 12 hours. Good to see everybody here. Thank you for coming and joining in on the fun. These blocks are coming along. We're working on the 3rd block. trim this. Let's see, what can I ask about next? Laura says, I'm sorry, I've been listening, but my sister called and needed me to gather my Thanksgiving decor for an upcoming luncheon at her school. That's okay. It's all right. Not a problem. You're still here. That's the thing. All right, let's get this next one. Oops. All right, let's go get this one sewed. What size needle do you use for paper piecing? Right now, I think I have a universal organ needle in here, I think. Do I know which size it is? I think it's a 12. I think. It's either a 12 or a 14, one of them. So, since someone asked that question, ouch. Those of you who paper piece, do you change the size of your needle when you're paper piecing? I don't even think about it. I just keep using the same needle I use all the time. I use the only time I actually change my needles out, as far as what kind they are, is if I'm quilting, I'll use quilting needles for quilting. And if I'm doing sometimes if I'm doing some tiny pieces, I might use a micro needle, but I have broken micro needles. So, not from pins, just literally broke it because the where the seams come together was too bulky. So I'm like, okay, we're not going to use those anymore. I like that they go in the fabric so nice that they just slide right in. But they're easy to break if there's too much thickness in the fabric. But I'm not a needle connoisseur. I don't know a lot about needles. That's something I lack in education on, unfortunately. Okay, now we got the pink on. Now we're back to white again. So now we're going to come over here and get this piece. Where am I getting this piece? Nope, I'm not. All right. Hi, Andrea. He doesn't buy lottery tickets, Denise. Not that I know of. Someone won a lottery in Georgia. Did they say where in Georgia? Did he win that 980 million lottery? Only one ticket in Georgia. Did it say where in Georgia? Right now, I'm using a seam allowance or a seam length of 1.80 on my machine. Okay, let me back up here. Janice says she uses the 9014. And Andrea says, howdy, friends. I've been watching on my TV while sewing. I am taking a break to eat and we'll be back to sewing, but wanted to say hi. Hey there. How you doing? Um, is there a specific stick sheet? I use a 1.80. I mean, you could go down smaller, but I think that Kimberly uses a 1.8, I think. I'm not sure. But she's on a Juki, so I don't know what the stitch links are labeled at on hers. Laura says, my sisters have always turned to me to fix everything for them. My mom had issues when I was younger and had to take on the caregiver role when I was about 8. Uh, Day says she uses a 1.5. Ah, there. And Denise says she has been watching from the beginning. Thank you. I would really like to know where in Georgia it was won, if they said. Oh my God. That's next door to Thomas. I wonder if my cousin won it. Now you make me want to call him and ask him if he's bought any lottery tickets. I don't know that he buys lottery tickets. Now we're going to sew another white strip on the top, which is this one. Yeah. Noonan. Wow, that's right next door to Thomas because they're Noonan and Carrollton are next door to each other. And my new half cousin that I just found out about that I'm related to, we share the same paternal grandfather. She lives in Noonan. We didn't know about each other until 2 years ago or 3 years ago, something like that. Since 2022, when I did the DNA test. She was looking for her paternal grandfather and she was trying to figure out who was related. So it turns out I was. It was a quick pick. Bought in a public store on Highway 29. Wow. That is so cool. Someone is going to be bloody rich. I hope they donate some of that money to the people in like maybe they'll donate some of it to people in need. I wouldn't hold my breath on that, but maybe they'll give it to some charities, some of it. If I won $980 million, you know what I would do with it? I would buy a house for all of my kids, set up college funds for all the grandkids, buy us a house in Montana that we can come, or buy a house in between all of the kids that we can come to whenever we want to travel, pay this house off, and then probably donate the rest to charity. That's what I would do with it. All right, time to start the orange. Yeah, but you can still do a lot with 452 million. I mean, I wouldn't buy $1 million houses for my kids. And I would set up enough of a trust fund for college for a 4-year degree. I don't think anyone needs to live in a $1 million house. So there's plenty there to pay mortgages off, and like my daughter, she has a mortgage, so we would just pay their mortgage off. Actually, 2 of my daughters have mortgages, so I would just pay them off. Buy Thomas a house, and set up for those grandbabies. And the reason I would donate to charities is because while my son was homeless for 10.5 months, Georgia, that where he's at in Georgia, they really stepped out and helped my son. He still needs things, but he's getting by, and to me, getting by is better than not getting by. He's worried about his SNAP though, because with SNAP having been stopped, he does. I don't think I may be having to help him with food if I can do it. I don't even know if I can afford it right now because money's tight for us too. So I don't know what we're gonna do about that. We'll figure it out when that road gets here. Because he is paying his bills and everything, so that's good. And I think I'm going to see if I can find an auto insurance company that maybe we can get cheaper insurance with, because $185 is a big chunk out of a $12 an hour person. Especially when he's never had a bad driving record. My son is 37 years old and he's never been in an accident or has he ever even had a traffic ticket? There's not many people that can say that, especially when you're a man. In Florida, your insurance is based on your driving actions. Let me see. We got lots of chit chat here. Hang on a second. I missed something. Giovanna said my great great grandfather was an orphan. Denise says if they take the lump sum, they pay Yeah, okay. I read that part. Then Laura says, my husband isn't a gambler. He wouldn't risk any amount of money. He wants a sure thing. Yeah, I hear you on that one, Laura. And then Giovanna says, I would pay my debts and then get myself a house and a new car and then create a charity for wildlife and pets as well. That's a great what thing, Giovanna. Um, and Jaja says that's too much upkeep. And then Day says, hey, you can't win if you don't play. My husband plays. Denise says the public store only gets 50,000. That's all they got out of that? Wow. Should also set up a fund to pay their property taxes for like 10. Yeah, that's a great idea, actually, Denise. That's where people lose their homes is with property taxes not getting paid. Andrew says, I would buy 1,000 acres, build a huge house for us with fully equipped sewing studio and retreat center and set up cabins for my kids and grandkids to stay in when they want it. And then I would rescue animals that needed forever homes. That's awesome. And then Dave said, I would take care of my family and then set up a foundation. That's good too. And Andrea says, I'm 69 years old and never had an accident or traffic ticket. Yeah, see, my son's 37 and that hasn't happened. Hey, you two could like go high five on that one. And Denise says, right now they are talking about having everyone reapply for SNAP. There are some people receiving that may no longer be eligible, but they don't stop the service. They stopped, as far as I know, they stopped it. Nobody's getting any food stamps for November. Dubrob, hey Dubrob, hi Dubrovka, how are ya? And Giovanna says also in Italy, if you have a lot of accidents, your insurance goes up. That makes sense. If you're a bad driver and you cause accidents and you're speeding all the time and getting ticketed or whatever, I can see that. But if you're a good driver and never been in trouble once, not even once, I don't see why you have to have high insurance, especially when you're in your 30s. He drives a little Hyundai 4-door car. All right, let's trim down these blocks. We're coming along with this. We're doing really good. And trim this side down. Okay, now we're going to go back to white again. Because we got this one on. Now we're going to put this one on, which is this one. So here's the thing. They shut down SNAP. Now, if they ask everybody to reapply, do you know how many weeks that's going to take for everything to get back into order? My son makes $12 an hour. That is not a living wage. He shouldn't lose his SNAP because of all the crap that's been going on. I raised my kids on SNAP, and my husband was an aircraft mechanic, and we still didn't have enough money to put food on the table. And I couldn't afford to go to work, and I'll tell you why. Do you know how much childcare was where I lived at? It would have costed me $50 a day for each kid I put into daycare, and I had three. And before you say, well, why did you have three kids? I tried to stop having kids after number two by getting my tubes tied, and I still got pregnant. So you can't put that one on me either. Lisa? Giovanna says mine is low as I've never caused one, but I have been hit in the back even last month. Yeah, rear ending is what took my back out. I got rear ended. And it ended up my insurance company had to pay for all of it because the person who rear ended me doing 65 miles an hour didn't have insurance and he had a suspended driver's license. So my insurance company paid for it because I had uninsured motorists on my insurance contract. Good thing I did. No, they didn't, Giovanna. So here's the story about my tubes. I had, I was on Medicaid while I was pregnant. And and you have a certain amount of time after you have a baby that that you can get your tubes tied and Medicaid pay for it. And so I think I got my tubes tied when after 6 weeks after Thomas was born. And when I went to see the doctor that was going to do the surgery, he was, and I was 27 then. And he said, "Are you sure you want to do this?" Yes. He says, "You are too young to make that decision. Is your husband going to come in and discuss this?" I said, "My husband don't have a darn thing to do with this. This is my decision. Mine alone. I am old enough to know what I want, and I'm not going to have another baby." And I think he deliberately did what the next doctor found when he did the tubal all over. So I had the surgery, and then I discovered about, I want to say, I don't know, 15 weeks after I had the surgery, I was pregnant again. And I was furious because number one, we couldn't afford another baby. Number two, my marriage was just horrid. And I didn't want to bring another one into it. And I didn't have no family to go to or anything for any help. I was on my own on everything. So, that's just the way sometimes life is. And so when I had her, and the doctor came in to talk to me about doing the next tubal, and I told him, I said, "Would you please, number one, make sure that when you do it this time, you do it where I cannot absolutely get pregnant again. And two, see what happened that caused me to get pregnant the first time, or how I got pregnant after the first one." So the next morning he came in to talk to me because he didn't talk to me after the surgery that day. He came back in the next day and he said, "You know why you got pregnant? The doctor tied a tendon behind my left tube and left the tube open. That's why I had another baby." I was one of those 0.0005% who got pregnant from a tubal. And then I found out when I was going to the gynecologist when I was pregnant, I met two women in there who were pregnant who went through the same thing I went through, and they were younger than me. So I think this doctor got paid to do tubals that he didn't do because he must have been one of those patriarchs that didn't think women had that knew that he didn't. I don't know, maybe he didn't think women knew their minds when it comes to procreation. I don't know. SNAP is the same thing as food stamps, Dubrovka. It's a food assistance program for people who have low income. No, he didn't go to jail because, you sign this little thing that says that that you could be one of those 0.0005%. In this day and age, I probably could have sued him, but back then you couldn't have sued him. Because if I could have, I would have sued him for 18 years of Kristen's life along with a college fund. That's what I would have done. I'd have made sure she had money for a college fund. And he would have put the bill for her growing up for 18 years. She was the easiest out of three to raise, though. I mean, she was a very good baby, just like her oldest sister. I mean, I didn't have any trouble with her. I just felt, and all three of my kids, have a little trauma from their daddy. Not like I have, though. It's just growing up in a house where dad didn't want to spend any time with you, kind of thing. Denise says you could be happily married with a husband, gainfully employed, and 5 children. He walk outside, get hit by a train, and nobody can say to the poor widow, why did you have so many children? You can't predict that. Exactly, Denise. You know what people were walking up, some of my friends were walking up and saying to me, don't you know, why are you pregnant again when you just had a baby? I didn't ask for any of that. And I'm like, why are you being mean? You should know better than to have babies when or another baby so close to this one, and also because of the way things are in your household. And I'm like, look, yeah, I'm not even going to say the word I was going to say. Yeah, exactly, Giovanna. Our body is our choice, not some man's choice. And Laura says, my husband and I wanted more than 2 babies that we had. My doctor told me my health would be at risk if we tried. We were going to adopt 3 siblings, but the last minute it fell through. See, the thing with me was whenever I was pregnant, my asthma would become psycho. And during my first pregnancy, I spent 3 weeks in the hospital during my 7th month because my asthma tried to kill the both of us. And so having a third, having babies is not good when you have asthma the way I have asthma. But it was my choice was mostly about my marriage and not having not having money, not enough, couldn't afford it. And let me see, my husband and let's see, I read that one. Then Denise says, future people like to judge without knowing all the facts. Yes. And anyone can run into hard times. Most folks live paycheck to paycheck. Yes. Some have no paycheck and live on the street. Yes. My son ended up homeless. He was living paycheck to paycheck and he lost his job. And that's what put him on the streets. Him and my grandson. And they were homeless for 10 and a half months. Things can happen beyond your control. And if you're not rich, You don't have no buffer to help you. That's it. Giovanna says one of my uncles has his tubes tied so that my auntie didn't have to go through all of that. Linda says putting the border on my scrappy Christmas tree top. Woohoo! Yay! Hello, Pescator. Sorry, Quintella. Hello there. Quintella says that's just rude and insensitive. Yes, it is. And then Andrea said I lost 5 babies because of fibroid tumors. They put me on birth control pills to try to keep me from getting pregnant, and I still got pregnant. Yeah, see? And I was able to carry for her for full term and then lost several. Then Laura says we tried a couple times to adopt, and when we were denied a couple times, I couldn't do it again. We had 2 beautiful children, and we were fortunate to have them. And then Andrew says more before they finally removed everything due to basketball-sized tumors that was about to rupture. Ouch. See, after Kristen, I lost my baby bed altogether. So when Nikolai and I married, I couldn't have babies. And he does not have any children of his own. I mean, biological children. So he considers my kids his kids. And the grands his grands. And they call him Grandpa. Okay, here is block number 3. So now we have 3 done. These blocks are looking good, don't you think? Now we have 3. Let me see what time it is. It's 8:30, 9:30. Oh, we haven't gone quite. Do you want to stay long enough for me to finish the last block? Or do you guys want to get off? Let me know. Stay or go? Do you want to stay now or do you want to go? Let me know because I can do that 4th block. Let me know. Hang on, I have to answer a message. That is up to you. How are you feeling? I'm doing okay. I feel like I'm getting a little tired though. Katie, I'm here until you're done. Quintola says, stay, please. Denise says, stay. I enjoy the conversation. Okay, we can do this last block and then I'll go. Let me tell my friend. I have one more block to do and then I'll stop. Will you still be around? Let me know. Okay, let's get this paper folded. Okay. And hey, won't you step into the live while you're at it on the chat room and say hello to everyone? My friend that lives in Syracuse, that's who I'm talking to. She's getting ready to get my box ready for shipping, and I need to talk to her about a couple things because I want to order. There's a couple things I need to order to get into that box, and see if she would mind waiting till December the 1st to mail my box. It might not get here before Christmas, and that's okay. As long as it gets here, that's all I care about. Because there's a couple things I want. I want some what do you call it? The starter that you have for sourdough. You can actually buy some kind of starter kit. I want to order a starter kit for sourdough so that I can learn how to do sourdough. And have I talked to Myra? I talked to her briefly today. During my live, actually, she called me. She says she's fine. She's all the family are still together right now. The funeral was this past Wednesday. She said she would not be on tomorrow night's live for the mental health thing, but she said she would be trying to get back with everybody next week. But she said everything's okay. She's all right. She sounded good. So that's all I can tell you right now. Because that's all I know. I'm going to try again tomorrow, maybe early tomorrow afternoon, and try to call her, see if I can talk to her for a few minutes on the phone. So what I ended up doing was posting on her Facebook itself because she didn't answer her messenger. And when I tried to call her, it said her phone number wasn't working, which I don't really know what that's supposed to mean, but because I can actually call the United States and it doesn't cost me hardly any. It doesn't cost me any long distance fees, put it that way, because I'm on a phone plan that covers me, that's part of the United States and Denmark kind of thing. It's a plan that covers for calling long distance to those two countries. And I can use my phone in the United States and I don't have to pay roaming charges. But I really don't like to use my Greenland phone in the United States. I'd rather use my American phone number. Make sure this is laying down right. Wait, I missed something. No, Dubrovka, I don't. My husband's at sea right now. He's a sailor. He works for a big, huge fishing company. And so he's on his, what do you call it when you have to go to sea? He's on his time to go. So he's going to be home, I think the 29th he comes home. He's technically off the ship on the 27th, but he won't be here until the 29th because he has to spend one night in Sissymoot, and then he has to spend 2 nights in Nuuk before he can come home. And let's hope the weather behaves itself so he doesn't get stuck somewhere else. And then let me see. Robin said she had a tubal obliteration, no more after 3. They refused after my second. Giovanna said she had her uterus removed to prevent cancer. My uterus was removed because doctors had never seen one that size before. And I think it's genetic because my mom had a full hysterectomy at 42 and I lost my uterus at 32. And it was misery before I had it done because we had no, listen to this. When you have your baby and you're a low income family, your children get to stay on Medicaid, but the mom doesn't. So once you've got outside that window, they take you off Medicaid. And so from she was born in 1990. From 1990 for like 4 years after that, I had so much issues where I couldn't leave the house. So when my husband finally he went back to work for the aircraft company. About I think 6 weeks into working, he had health insurance, and I finally went to a gynecologist. And when I told a gynecologist what was going on, he asked me how long I'd been this way. I told him since my daughter was born, and he said, "You haven't had no insurance?" Nope. And this is what happens when you have no insurance and you can't do nothing. So he thought what he would try doing first was a DNC, which he did, and the DNC intensified what was going on. And when I came back to him, he was like, "Why didn't you come back the day after the DNC?" I said, "Well, you said to wait a couple of days, so I did." He says, "No, you're going in the hospital because this is not normal." And so it ended up, I was in surgery a long time because he did the surgery vaginally. That way he didn't have to cut my stomach open, which is because I really didn't want to go that route. And when he came in the next morning, he told me what was going on. He said that my uterus was 2 times the size of a normal uterus after having a baby. And he says he don't really know what caused that. And I told him about my mom, and he says it was probably something genetic since she had because the symptoms she was having, and that's what caused her hysterectomy, were the same as what I was having. So, and he talked about taking my ovaries, and I'm like, "No, please don't." He says, "Well, I'm going to examine them, and if I find something wrong, I will take them." I said, "Okay, but if they're normal, leave them alone." And he did. He left them alone because they were perfectly healthy. There was not a thing wrong with my ovaries. And this doctor was listening to me, unlike the other doctor that did the tubals. Okay. Andrea says the blocks are looking great. Quintella says, "That's the same with my husband, has no biological children. I have 3 from my first marriage, and he claims him as his along with my grandson. He says he is satisfied." That's what Nikolai says. And then Denise says she's not a fan of paper piecing, though. Everybody's saying stay. Katie, "I am here until you are done," says Laura. Wow, that went fast. And I answered about the question about Myra. Katie, "Have you ever tried sewing on the lines without thread instead of drawing? That serves 2 purposes, allowing you to see where to sew and helps to tear away." I haven't tried. What? Wait. No, I haven't tried marking the paper with my needle. I usually don't have enough time to do that. I don't mind marking my paper. Actually, it's okay with me to do that. And then Denise says, "I was wondering if you had to pay to call the USA." Nope, I don't. And then Giovanna says, "I am off to bed." Cindy Sorette, "Have a good day tomorrow." And then Denise is saying good night. Everybody's telling her, have a good night. And let me see here. I tried the tracing wheel. No, that wasn't it. I tried doing that and it hardly punctured the paper. I don't see anything wrong with drawing lines on the back of my paper. I really don't. Yes, it's an extra step, but I don't mind the extra step. Because using a tracing wheel or trying to take the time to do it, put holes in the paper with my needle, That's still the same extra step that I'm doing by marking the paper. And I'm not saying that that's a bad idea. It's a good idea. I did try the tracing. I bought 2 tracing wheels and neither one of them would puncture the paper. Hey, I'll be right back. I need to take a bio break. Where you going? Okay, I'm back. That feels better. Didn't realize I hadn't been to the bathroom the whole time I've been doing this. Let me see. Andrea says she's like Rita, they don't sew on paper. They fold it and sew close to it. Yeah, my eyes are not good enough for that. I don't know how she does it with her poor eyesight. And I don't see anything wrong with the way I do this. Don't take offense. I'm not being whatever. Don't take it that way. I think this is fine doing it this way. I'm doing what what my brain understands. I've tried doing freezer paper a couple of times. Now this can't come in freezer paper because this is part of the kit for this sew along. So this whole sew along is all paper piecing that came with papers. And I love it. I think it's cathartic. It definitely makes your blocks pretty. And yes, this is a log cabin and you can do it from a log cabin pattern. But for this sew along, there's no math to do this without paper piecing. It's all been, the pattern has been created to use paper piecing with it. So there's no way to even do that. I also do freezer paper. I do like tearing the paper and I can use the same pattern over and over again. Okay, let's get number 3 on, and number 3 is white. So here's the last one of this. Let's sew this on. Oh, there's the average. Oh, good. So the bot is working because I've added Rita's channel into the bot. And Andrea, you should have seen yours advertised a couple times too. I hope it's working. I don't know if it had or not. All right. let's do this. Let's take it over the iron. So, Andrea, what can you tell me why you don't like using paper for piecing? What do you not like? Because I'm curious, why don't you like it? Andrea says, I will soon be deaf, blind, bald, and toothless. Getting old is not fun. Nope. Hey, how's those hearing aids working out? Are you seeing closed captioning on the live tonight? I hope you are. Katie, our brains all work different. And if this method works for you, then that's what you should do. Yep. And Andrea says, yep, it's working great. Good. All right. Let me see. Number 4 is going to be this first. Yep. Pink. Here we come. I'm really happy with how these blocks are turning out. And I also think I'm getting more comfortable doing this style of sewing. But not needing them with your hearing aids on. Yeah, but I think there's a couple other hearing impaired people too. So I want to make sure that I have them on, have it on. And I didn't know if you saw, I posted a video on how for YouTube creators on how to turn their closed captioning on. Okay, now we got that side sewn on. Now we're going to sew the next one, which is the last of that one. So I want to show you guys something. I'm not sure if what's left over from this is going to be used on one of the other blocks or not. Maybe. I don't know. Let me look. Hang on a second. Let me have a peek real quick. Nope. I'm going to show you what was left from these 3 pieces of fabric after I get this 4th block done. You'll be amazed at what's left over. I definitely will have plenty of fabric to do some kind of piecing that I could put on the back of the quilt. Or I could save it and do a mini quilt or something. Uh-oh. What's going on here? Something's going on with this. All right, I need to get a test piece of fabric and find out what's going on with my machine. Okay. So why did it hang up like that? I don't know. Who knows? All right. We got this one sewn on. I don't know what was going on there. It was like it got stuck or something. That was very strange. All right. Okay. But did you know, I don't know, well, I don't know about the rest of the country, but did you know that in Florida, there's acres of pine trees that are raised just for paper? And then they replant, when they cut those trees down, they turn around and replant again. They don't cut mature other trees down to do the paper with. I didn't know if you were aware of that. I'm a tree hugger too, but and when I first started doing this, I'm like, oh, we're tearing up paper. But there's no other way of doing this. Well, this can be done if you just have the proper measurements. But there's a piece in here that definitely will need the paper piecing for it. Andrea says, you are right. I've been attempting to stay above ground this year. It is been a rough year, but I think I'm on the mend. Losing all this weight has certainly helped. I didn't know you were trying to lose weight, Andrea. Nora's snoring. I just got a message from my friend. We might not be talking on the phone later. Her mother-in-law just got admitted into the hospital. So they might be having to go to Brooklyn. And that's quite a drive from Syracuse. Okay, so now we've got this done. Now it's time for the next white piece, which is this one. And we're going to sew it on. She says, I am a diabetic. My doctor put, oh my gosh, you're on Mounjaro. My doctor brought that up when we were talking this last time. He says, I would love to put you on Mounjaro, but it is banned right now in Greenland. He says, because it would help you lose the weight even though you're not a diabetic. That's the one that helps people who are insulin resistant lose weight. Which, because I think I'm actually insulin resistant, is what I think I am. And that might be why I'm not a diabetic. Because when they did my last blood work, he was like amazed that I had such good blood work for someone who was obese. And I'm like, y'all are always fixated on my weight instead of being fixated fixated on the fact that outside of being overweight or obese, as you call it, I really only have two health issues, my lungs and the problems I have with my back. I don't have any other health problems. None, zero. The occasional trouble in my stomach, but that doesn't really count because I'm not on medication for that. And I probably wouldn't take it if I was. I've gotten where I've been very proactive about what they make me take. They had me on all different kinds of things for this nerve pain and this other kind of pain and this other pain. It's all caused from the same location that causes 3 different kinds of pain. And I discovered that none of it was working, but I was getting lots of side effects from it. And it was aggravating, it was making my menopause worse. So I made the choice of just taking my behind off of all of it but 2. And it was a good plan because it made me feel better. Jojo says, still here, was talking to my mom. How many years to grow a tree? The particular pine trees they use for paper, 10 years. And they have thousands of acres, and they do them in tracks. And they'll cut a certain set down, plant there, and then go to the next. And it's done in such a way that it's staggered by time and when they cut and when they replant. They do this constantly. It's interesting how they do it, but this particular pine they use for paper is a fast growing pine tree, and it grows exponentially fast. They don't use hardwood trees for paper. It takes hundreds of years for hardwoods to get huge. And I bet that the lumber yards, well, I don't know. I have to research about lumber yards and hardwood trees. If they actually have farms for that, like the paper mill does or paper companies do. Because I had a friend that I was teaching her daughter how to race her horse and how to fix some of the issues she was having. And they owned 10 acres that was running parallel to their little mini ranch. And I said, are you going to keep all those pine trees? He says, yes, till they reach a certain age, which when I started knowing them, I've probably known them about 8 years, and those trees were probably at least 5 years growing. And I said, what are you going to do with them? He says, when the time is right, they're going to be turned into paper, and the money I make off those trees are going to go into my daughter's college fund. And I'm like, oh, and then after he done that, he replanted the whole property. So she had a college fund by the time she hit 18. If Giovanna's here, is still here, she's saying hello. This is Kathy. Hey, Kathy. Insulin was no longer working, so was put on Mojourno. I lost all that weight, and now my blood sugar is normal. That makes sense to me. And then I would have thought the weight loss would have helped. Wait, did I read that wrong? Oh, are you saying your blood sugar is now normal or not normal, Andrea? Chris says, I used to work with a woman. Her husband had a tree farm, and that is exactly what he would do. Yeah, it was a staggered planting, staggered cutting, the whole 9 yards. It was very um economical the way they did it. And so you weren't losing trees forever. They weren't clear, basically weren't clear cutting is what they weren't doing. Because I don't believe in clear cutting. I think clear cutting is wrong. There is a paper tree farm in Ocala, or yeah, Florida. I think they are ponderosa pine trees. They get massive quick. Yep. Fast growing pine trees. And they use them to make the paper. Just another kind of farming, basically. We're getting closer to the finishing up this block too. We're getting closer, closer, closer. Yeah. Let me do some more trimming here because we're getting close to this last area. We're down to once, and this block will be done, and that means I will have all 4 of these blocks done tonight. That's fantabulous. All right, turn this back the way it's supposed to be turned so I don't get confused. Let's put this next orange on. When I was younger, I didn't understand that there was actual tree farms for this kind of thing. And then I went to a church in Perry. They were doing something special over there at the church in Perry, and there's a pulp heck, what is it called? It's where they break down the wood and turn it into pulp for paper, which smells so very bad. And I realized that, and when I asked him about that that factory, he told me there's tree farms all around that factory. And I said, so they raise these for this. They're not clear cutting. He says, nope, they don't clear cut. Sorry, I'm trying to get rid of some of this paper because it's stacking up now. It's too bad I couldn't recycle this small pieces of paper into something else though. But I can recycle all these small slivers of fabric. I've been keeping all these really small pieces of fabric in plastic bags. And when I get enough of them, I'm going to stuff a pillow for Nora. I'm almost, my second bag is almost, I did have a really big bag of it, but it was sitting open when my sewing room got destroyed. And so it had glass in all of that. So I had to throw it out. So now I'm smart. I make sure I seal them when they get filled up. Because I plan on making her a pillow. Since it's cotton, I won't have to worry about any synthetic stuff in it. Kathy, how are you doing? Chris said she used to live in Tallahassee. Then you know where Perry, Florida is. Because that's where that pulp thing is at. There's a name for it, but I can't think of the name of it for some weird reason. All I know is it stinks really bad. You can smell it for miles. I don't know how much pollution that puts in the air. That would be an interesting question to ask. Does it pollute our atmosphere? All right, we're getting close to it. In fact, we're down to 4 now. Okay, so let's get this one on. Somehow or another, I have all these little tiny pieces of thread fiber floating around on top of here. And it looks like hair. My hair. Andrea says she's doing great today, Kathy, except she has swollen feet and cannot get her shoes on today. Has a big problem with edema, and my diuretica are not working, so my doctor's appointment is to address that. Goodness, Andrea, I hope they figure out what's causing that. I'll be right back. I'm going to put her on the tie down so she can go outside. Come on. Okay. We are back. She's on the tie down. Hello, Jennifer. It's good to see you. Paper and sugarcane factories both reek. Yes, they do. Kathy says she's doing okay. Had a viral bug part of the week and working on a quilt with a beautiful snowy scene. Oh, I can't wait to see what that looks like. I hope you can share it somewhere. You can always join my Greenland Quilter channel, not channel, Greenland Quilter Facebook group, and you can share your pictures there of your handiwork. Now I have goosebumps, says wait, Jaja says, I just had to kill a huge spider. Oh my God. And then she says, now I have goosebumps. You're with me on that. I don't like spiders. And we only have one kind of spider here in Greenland. And they always show up inside the house when winter comes. And then they must hibernate or something. And then as soon as the house gets really too warm in the spring, there's suddenly several of them will show up all at once. Okay, now let me check this right here because that doesn't look right there. That's because it needs to be trimmed. So trim this side. Yes, I did. And did I trim this? Yes, I did. Okay, it's ready to go now. All right, let me turn it back to right direction. Now we're going to do the last white. And then we are, oh, I forgot to trim this side. I thought I was done. All right, now we can continue on. Okay, let's get this white one on. All right, let's sew this one. Close. All right, got that done. And I need to press it. Let's trim. Now we can get the last two pieces on. So we're going to be trimming on or putting on this smaller or shorter piece. And then we have the long one, and this block is going to be done. We'll do when a little, wait a minute. Rita asked if the spider was given a funeral. Oh, hey Rita. I love that quilt, girl. You did a good job on it. You ready to come in? You got the zoomies? You must have the zoomies. You got the zoomies? From going outside? Nora has the zoomies. Okay. All right. I don't know why that. Oh, I know why that looks like that. Okay, let's trim, and then we have one piece left. Then I can press it real good, and then we can trim it to the size it's supposed to be at. And we will have 4 finished log cabin blocks in this color. And then I'll show you what I had left over from the fabric I started with, because you'll be amazed. All right, let's get this last strip on here. And that gets put out of my way for a minute. And we're going to pin this one on. Okay, now all I got to do is press this, and then we'll get it trimmed, and then that'll be the last one for this color. All right, let's trim it down. Okay, now we have 4 of these beautiful blocks. And hold on a second. So this piece was probably just right at a, I'm thinking a fat quarter. So this is the piece that's left over from this part of this sew along, or you know what I mean, block of the month. For these 4 blocks, I have one of these with this much left of this, which this was probably about a quarter long, not like a fat quarter. And then this was definitely a fat quarter, and I have this left over. So yeah. And this will probably continue to get used again, probably. These other 2 doesn't look like it's getting used anywhere else. So I have all of this left over. So fantastic. Okay, now let's talk about a couple things. All right, for those that just strolled in not too long ago, I'll show this one more time. This is block number 22, Northern Flare, from the 1000 block tutorials I've been doing. And as you know, last night I had all of the working pieces sewn, but they all had to be sewn together to make the whole block. And there was lots of pieces. And this is what it turned out to look like. So that got finished earlier today. And I have tonight on the live done all 4 of these log cabins. So there you go. All right, then I'll show you what will be the next one in line to do. Probably in the next day or two, I'll start working on it. The next one is going to be this peach block. That's this one, square and square. And then after that, it'll be this raspberry block. And then these flying geese. But I got to see if I can find these. So I have a sick feeling that maybe they didn't come in my kit, which is not good. So I'll have to call Fat Quarter Shop and say, hey, I didn't get my flying geese. I need them to do this pattern. So, and they'll probably be more than happy to make sure that I get them. Okay. What did y'all think about that? Did you like that? Did you enjoy the live tonight with me making them? Rita says, I like those tulip looking pieces coming out of that star block. Yeah, it really does set off this whole. Here, let me see if I can I have a hard time spotlighting when it's just me. You don't always want to do that because y'all say you can't see it. So I'm just gonna set it right here where you can see it on the other camera. This really set off the whole block. It really did. So there was this was like 1, 2, 3 times 4. This is like a 9-patch block, kind of like doing a 9-patch sorta. And then you had these flying geese that don't look like flying geese, but they were actually flying geese. It was just an interesting way of doing this portion here to make it look like this because you had stitch and flips down here. And then when you had half triangles here and you sewed this to this, and you had enough to do it all the way around, and there was 2 different directions. You had to make sure you put them in the right direction, and then you sewed them onto the triangle. And then you sewed this in one set, these in one set, and these in one set. But you had to do the center first, you know, as far as when you started actually sewing everything together. So it came together really good. Andrea says, yes, love the live and conversation. Thank you for coming too, Andrea. Okay, here's what's going to happen for the next 2 lives. Tomorrow, we have a live scheduled at 4:30 Eastern Standard Time, and this is our mental health day. Once a month, we do this, me and Danny. Myra is not going to make it because she lost her mother a week and a half ago. And she called me earlier today. I finally heard from her. She's okay, but she said she'd probably be back next week. So we will be doing the live without her this go around. And then on Wednesday, as long as everything goes according to plan, I'll be doing a pre-recorded podcast interview with Zaza. And then on Thursday, the 20th, Andy from Crafty Witch 232 is going to come sew with me. She's got a sewing machine and she sews too. And I will probably continue working on the channel Sewalong that day like I did this past Thursday, trying to catch up. And then on Friday, we will be doing block number 23, the Tulip Twist, which is block number 603 in the book, page 309. And then Saturday, I have 2 guests. We're going to have Shonda and Jess on the live with me on Saturday, and I will be working on my dragon fruit. And that's what we got for the rest of this upcoming week. That's what we'll be doing. Okay. What did y'all think about all of this? I hope you enjoyed it. I actually got something done tonight, which is pretty cool, I think. So, yeah. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. I really appreciate every one of you. I don't know how many of you have been paying attention to what's going on with my channel growth, but um, it's growing. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart how much I appreciate all of you for your love, your kindness, for supporting my channel and being there and watching me have nights where it didn't go so well and other nights it went pretty well. I feel like I'm getting better at it, but you know, it's a learning curve for this. And I really do thank all of you for being so patient and for loving me and, just being my friends. Y'all are my friends. That's what I think of you as, my friend. And I want you to know that I do appreciate that and that I love you guys. And no, I'm not trying to get into some tearjerker. Nope, nope. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow. Those of you who want to attend the mental health thing. I'm not sure what the topic's going to be yet. I'm kind of up in the air on what I want to talk about. We either talk about what the sewers and crafters do when you lose someone close to you, or we can talk, it'll be something along those lines probably. Quintella said she enjoyed the live, relaxing. Andrea said she loved the live and conversation. And then Jaja says it will be a party. Oh, and by the way, on the last Saturday of this month is when I'm gonna give y'all your gift or do the drawing for your gift cards for the 5K drawing. Because remember when I was going to do that, I came down with all this pain stuff and couldn't do it because it was scheduled for October the 5th or something, and this lasted the entire month. 4:30 Eastern Standard Time, Jaja. And you can come in and stay as long as you want, stay as little as you want. Just come and say hi, and let's sit down and have some fun talking. Danny tends to be sewing at the same time, and I might work on the dragon fruit too, but it's not going to be the main topic of the channel. Talking about mental health will be, so don't expect too much sewing, but there might be a little bit. All right. Just remember, Katie, take care of yourself. I can feel pain in my hip, so it's time for me to stop. For right now, anyway. I want to sew. Y'all, it's like suddenly I want to sew, and more sewing. I don't know what to do with myself because my body won't let me sit in this chair for more than 4 hours, and then it bothers me a little bit, and then I go take a break for a couple hours, and then I can come sit back down, do maybe another couple of, you know how it goes. Anyway, I love you guys. Remember to live, laugh, love, and dream. What do you do with that? You make something beautiful. And see all of y'all tomorrow. Good night, everyone. What are you complaining about, huh? Really? I already let your behind out, Missy. Stop.